Taming the High Cost of College, Episode 38.
You have kids, they grow up, and before you know it, it's time to plan for college.
Where do you start?
How much is it going to cost?
Will you qualify for financial aid?
Should you be looking into scholarships?
When will you be able to retire?
What about student loans?
The list of questions is never ending. The good news is, all the answers are right here. Welcome to the Taming the High Cost of College podcast. Here is your host, certified financial planner, Brad Baldridge.
Hello, welcome to Taming the High Cost of College. I'm your host, Brad Baldridge. Today we have an interview with Alexis Amarante. She is a theater student, and she's going to give us some insights into what it's like to major in the performing arts, as well as the audition process. If you have a student that's considering performing arts or visual arts or any of the other arts, this may be a great way for you to learn a little bit more about the process and support your student. After the interview, we also have a question that I answer about repositioning assets in order to improve your financial aid situation. As always, show notes are available at tamingthehighcostofcollege.com/38, which is the episode 38. So again, it's tamingthehighcostofcollege.com/38. All right, today we're sitting down with Alexis Amarante. She's a senior and she's studying theater, and she's going to share with us a lot of great information on performing arts and how that works in college. So welcome, Alexis.
Thank you. Yeah, I am a senior performance major at James Madison University in Virginia. I actually didn't audition into the program when I was a freshman. I auditioned in when I was a sophomore, but I've been interested in the performing arts my whole life. Right now I'm looking into what I'm going to be doing after college, so I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, in my college career, I've really been focusing on the performing arts, obviously, but I've also been training in stage management, costume design, scenic design, and design as well.
Okay. Well, great. I guess let's back up a little bit then. So you said you didn't audition directly in. So were you at the same university and then you transferred majors, or tell us a little about that.
Yeah, I went on the college search and visited JMU. I'm originally from Philadelphia, just outside Philadelphia in the suburbs up there. Visited JMU and really just fell in love with the university. I love the atmosphere. And I decided to come in undeclared. I had been doing choir and theater all through high school, and I wanted to pursue the arts, but I let everyone influence me. Whenever I said I wanted to be an actor, people were like, "Oh, that's a really hard profession. You're not going to make any money. It's impossible to make it in that world." And I really let that influence me. And that's probably my biggest mistake, because once I got to college, I saw one show here and I was like, I need to be doing this. This is what I love. This is what I want to do. So by the time I was a sophomore, I auditioned for the program, got in, and I've been doing that ever since.
Okay. So you were pretty active in the high school realm as well, then, it sounds like?
Yes, I was. I started theater in elementary school. I got to play a lead in this little play called Little Grunt and the Big Egg, and we did it in our little cafeteria, and I fell in love with theater then. I pursued it all through middle school, and then in high school, I took a year off my freshman year as well. I was a cheerleader and then quit cheerleading, got back into theater and choir, and was very, very much into doing all of that. I think by the time I graduated, I had been a part of, I want to say 13 choirs and 12 different shows.
Wow. Okay. So this was something that's been a passion for a while for you.
Yes.
Okay. So what did some of your friends do? Again, that as far as auditioning, and did you have to audition because when you transferred in then, or did you audition or just transfer in without an audition?
Yes, I had to audition. It's the same exact process for me as it was for my friends who auditioned before they came to school as freshmen. It's kind of a long process in that it takes a lot of preparation. I had to prepare 2 separate monologues, equaling about a minute each. One had to be comedic and one had to be dramatic, and they prefer if one is contemporary, something recent, meaning after 1950s, and then something classical, normally Shakespeare. So I prepared 2 of those. I had to bring in a headshot, I had to bring in a resume, I had to bring in a letter of recommendation, which I got my high school theater teacher to help me out with. And then I had to write a letter to the school as to why I wanted to be a part of this program. And then following my audition, I had an interview for about 10 to 15 minutes with some of the JMU faculty and staff.
Okay. I was going to say, so who are the decision makers as far as, I mean, is there a whole team that you're auditioning in front of, or is it just a person that makes a decision? Or
I had a room full of 3 people, which was Dennis Beck, who is the head of the theater department here, Roger Hall, who was an acting teacher here, and Wolf Sherrill, who is also an acting teacher. Roger has since retired, but Wolf is still there. It's normally a panel of the acting teachers and the head of the department. It's a little bit different from musical theater. I don't do musical theater. I just do straight theater. So my panel was just the straight theater professors, whereas musical theater, they also have a dance audition and a singing audition, and they perform in front of the acting teachers as well as the music teachers.
Wow. Okay, so now that you've gone through the audition, how competitive was it? I mean, was there like lots of people and only a few made it, or was it?
Yeah, it's quite competitive here. As a transfer, it was a little bit different. Transfer, there were, I think, 15 of us auditioned and about 3 of us got in. But we hold auditions year-round, which I've actually been helping out with a little bit here. The last weekend, I believe we had 400 people come and audition just on this weekend, and we have 2 or 3 audition weekends. So there's a lot of people, and we don't have a very large class. I think the last class that came in was about, I want to say, 30 people.
Okay, so there's 300 or 400 people in that one audition vying for about 30 spots.
Right.
And then, of course, you do multiple days, so there might be another batch similar?
Yes. So there'll be about 300 to 400 people per weekend, and I think 30 spots total.
Wow. Okay. And then it's primarily based on talent then?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you had a 5.2 GPA and were first in your class, would that typically have a bearing, do you think? Or
not really. That would help you get into the school because you also need to get into JMU as a school, but then also get into the program. So, I mean, you could be the best student in the world, but if you can't act, I don't think your GPA really has a bearing on it.
Okay. But the flip side, your GPA would have a bearing where perhaps you could act well enough, but if you're not a strong enough student, the school itself may not accept you.
Correct.
In which case, whatever the theater department wants probably doesn't matter because you've got to make the grades for general admission.
Exactly.
Okay. So now that you're in the program, tell us a little bit about what your classes are like and what you do day to day. And I know you're involved in some productions and stuff like that. So tell us your typical days and how, what you spend your time at.
Sure. Let's see. Well, I'm on the performance track, so that means I'm taking primarily performance classes. We have different tracks here. You can just do general theater education or general theater studies. Then there's theater education. You can go on the technical theater track, which is the lighting design, costume design, scenic design, that sort of thing, or performance. I'm on performance, so a normal day for me looks like I go to one of my acting classes, which starts off when you're a freshman or sophomore. You do basic acting. The next semester is intermediate acting, contemporary scene study, then heightened language, and then auditioning for professional issues, which is your final class. So I took that last semester. The way they have the track set up is that by the second semester of your senior year, you don't take an acting class so that you're free to go out and go to these professional auditions and go to conferences. But a normal day for me looks like I'll go to an acting class or a performance analysis class. We have a lot of those here. We also have theater history, a lot of required classes. We also have to take dance classes. Even if you aren't a dancer, it is required as theater majors. Everyone has to take a dance class. So right now I'm in 2 dance classes. I'm also the teaching assistant with one of our newer professors, Ben Lambert. And I am also a teacher's assistant for a Shakespeare for the Actor course. I've gotten really into Shakespeare over the past 2 years, I would say. And this is a 300-person class where another actor and I come in and the class directs us in different Shakespeare scenes. So it really varies depending on what your interests are, what you're doing. But I've taken voice for the actor, movement for the actor. It really varies over the course of your 4 years at school.
Right. Okay, and then are you also required to take general studies? I mean, you're taking math and English and those things as well at some point?
Yeah, I'm a Bachelor of the Arts, so I have to take my gen eds, which JMU requires, which is your basic math, your science, your history, English, all of those things. But since it's a BA program, I also need to take extra philosophy classes, extra sociology classes, and the big one is we have to take a language. So I studied French for 3 years.
Right. So for those people that don't understand, you said BA, which is Bachelor of Arts.
Yes.
There's also a Bachelor of Science that
Correct.
would lead into the theater realm.
In most places, yes.
Yes. So you have to make a decision essentially in which one you'd like to pursue.
Correct. But it's strongly enforced here that we do a BA.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's your typical day. Now, are you also involved in, the school play, so to speak?
Oh, that's my typical day. I can end class anywhere from around noon to 5 at night. Normally on my Tuesday, Thursday classes, I'm done by 5. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm done by 11, which is lucky because I'm a senior. But I'm currently in production for a show called Shipwrecked. It's an amazing show, but I have rehearsals every night from around 6:30 to 11. So it is a very busy day. I have a full class load, and then I go to rehearsals, and then I get to start my homework. So it is a lot to handle, but by the time you get to, your third or fourth year, you get really, really good at handling it. Yes, but I'm in Shipwrecked right now, which is, there's 5 people in it, but we're all playing about 15 plus different characters. So it's a lot of work and it's a lot of fun. And I'm also in production for A Midsummer Night's Dream as Titania.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So are these productions driven by faculty, or like the directors and the lighting and all that? Is that all students doing everything, or is this open to the public, or what level of production are you at?
The 2 that I'm in, at JMU, and it's like this with most places, you have your main stage productions, which are the ones run by faculty and some students, and then you have studio productions, which is what Shipwrecked and Midsummer are. Which is directed by a student and mostly student coordinators and collaborators, but there's a faculty advisor. So they're held in our 2 different spaces. We have a studio space and a main stage space. These 2 just happen to be studio productions, but they are open to the public. They run the same amount of time as a main stage production. So it's 6 shows starting on like a Tuesday and go till Sunday or what have you. The times change, but I've been a part of both main stage and studios in my time here.
Okay. So are the opportunities available starting as a freshman, or do you have to get some of your acting classes in and stuff?
No, actually it's available to anyone. It's open up as freshmen. Obviously they prefer theater majors, and the more experience you have, the better, but we actually don't have any restrictions on what classes you've taken or even if you're a major.
Wow. I have an engineering degree, so this is like worlds apart from what I did in school.
Yeah, I hope I'm not like speaking a different language. Sometimes it gets hard.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I think this is great information for prospective students as well.
Right.
So what would you say to the parent that has that? I guess there's a lot of parents out there that say, as you mentioned, you want to be an actor? How are you going to make any money? What are some considerations? Obviously, you're looking for work, right? So
Right.
What kind of work are you looking for?
Primarily, I am looking for work in performance. I would say to those parents, just really persistence is key. It's really easy to get discouraged or give up because, a lot of our business is rejection. We audition for things, we're not right for the part, we're not right for the company, we're not right for the school. It's a lot of rejection, but it's key to keep building yourself back up and just keep going to the next audition. You can fail 100 times before you succeed once, and that's really hard in this business. So right now I am looking for different performance jobs. I just last week went to the Unified Professional Theater auditions, which is what we call a cattle call audition, where there's about 60 companies in the room, and they just bring one person on stage at a time. You do your audition package, you leave, and then every half hour or so they post callbacks, and you go to their callbacks. So I just went to one of those. I just went to the Kennedy Center American Theater Festival, which wasn't an audition, but it's really great networking chance. So you get to go, to workshops, you get to see these shows, it's based off of all the colleges in that region get voted on like good shows and good performers, and they go and then compete. So I went as a partner for that. But any acting chance that you get, just take it. That would probably be the best advice that I could give, because any chance is a chance to network, is a chance to be seen.
Right. So I guess another thing you mentioned, which I'd like to explore a little bit, is you said you're a TA for a couple of those acting classes.
Yes.
So I'm assuming you get paid to be a TA. Can you tell us a little about that? I mean, not necessarily the exact numbers, but what are your duties and how does it help you?
Sure. It varies for TAs. I actually am not being paid, but I'm getting credits. So I'm getting more school credits for working as a TA. It has its ups and downs, to be honest with you. I love being a TA for an intermediate acting class because I hadn't taken an intermediate acting class since, I guess, second semester of my sophomore year. So it's really fun to help the students who are where I used to be and just help share with them my knowledge. My duties include I go to their outside rehearsals. So if students are assigned a scene to do in class, they need to rehearse outside of class. So I will go to their outside rehearsals and give them help. Any questions they have on assignments or quizzes, they're free to email me or text me, ask me questions. And I also help the teacher assign different scenes.
Yeah, and then you mentioned another class that had 300 in it. Does that class have non-majors in it? I mean, that sounds like a really big class.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. That's actually, it's an English course, but it's Shakespeare. It's called Shakespeare for the Actor. So I think there's only about 8 theater majors in the class. It's technically a general education course, but yeah, I would say there's upwards of 300 people in there, and the teacher will assign my partner and I a scene, we'll do the scene, and then everyone in the class gets to raise their hand, contribute, and say what they would like us to do when we do it again.
So this is more of a general ed for people that want to just study Shakespeare.
Right.
And okay. All right. How do you feel like the overall network? I mean, do you feel like you're building a network of friends? And I mean, when you're in the performing arts, obviously you're spending long hours, it sounds like, with some of your fellow majors. So is it kind of a group that kind of works together?
Absolutely. It's essentially a family. I mean, I know every single person in the entire theater department, whether they're seniors or freshmen. And I know all of the people who have graduated since I've been here. And it's an amazing way to network. There's people who have graduated who are out in LA or who are in New York or Chicago. We have people everywhere, and it's so important to maintain those relationships. Even just people you meet once. For example, I went to that Kennedy Center American Theater Festival, and just people that I've met there just once. Those are people that if you friend them on Facebook and you end up getting a job somewhere that they live, and you end up like posting, hey, I need a place to crash for this audition or for this job, having that network is amazing. And JMU is, I mean, people say like it's one of the friendliest places on earth, and it's really clear here from the relationships that you build.
All right. Well, any advice then to the prospective high school student is, if they're thinking about it, what could they do to help, make the decision? Do you have tours available and that kind of stuff? What do prospective students that are looking at your program do?
The first thing I would say is definitely do your research. We have tons of information online to find out if this is the place that they want to go. I mean, anywhere that they want to go, especially for theater. Do your research. Find out who the faculty is, where they've worked, what they do. See if you can talk to people who have gone through the program before and how successful they are and what they're doing now. Research is key. But we do have tours at JMU. All of that information is online. We have tours of the entire campus, as well as tours of the Forbes Center for Performing Arts, which is our main building for theater. That would be the number one thing that I would say is to research. Right.
So if I'm a prospective theater major, do I do something differently when I'm a junior or senior on campus than another major might do? I mean, you guys specialized tours or anything? Would I meet faculty or?
Yeah, absolutely. If you came to campus, you could ask for the Forbes tour if you wanted to meet some of the faculty, to see our spaces, or just like set up a meeting to talk about what we do here. That's very easily accessible.
Okay, so they just have to be willing to ask, I think, is what a lot of people don't realize.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I appreciate all the great information. I guess I'd like to wrap things up here, but before I let you go, can you give us 3 quick tips for parents or students that you think might help them in their pursuit of some sort of theater major?
Sure. Number one, don't give up. It's so easy to give up, but just keep on going. If this is what you love, keep pursuing it. I wish I had gotten that advice when I was looking at schools. If you want to do theater, pursue it. That's number one. Number two would be practice as much as possible. Practice in the shower, practice in front of your family, practice in front of your friends, practice in front of as many people as you can. And then the third one would be to study and learn as much as you can, especially for parents. Learn as much as you can about theater. Sometimes I feel like I'm speaking a foreign language to my parents because of the work that I do and my terminology. They don't know. They're not studying theater. So it's so much easier to talk to them if I'm helping them to learn or they're learning themselves. So just to keep that connection between, parent and student close is to make sure you're on the same page as everything.
Right. All right. Well, I really appreciate your time in all this. I think this is a great learning tool for parents and students.
Great.
And I guess we'll take it from there. So have a good day.
Awesome. Thank you. You as well.
Have a question? Brad is accepting questions from his listeners now. Record a question at tamingthehighcostofcollege.com and get it answered on one of the future episodes.
Today's question comes to us from a seminar I did last night, and I had an attendee ask me if they should rearrange their assets because they had a large amount of money in the bank and they were concerned that this money in the bank was going to mess up their financial aid. So they were wondering if they should move it, and if they should move it, how would they do that? So before we get into that, it's important for people to realize that there are assets that are counted against you when it comes to calculating financial aid, and there are assets that are not counted against you. And if you have assets that are counted against you, which would typically be things like money in the bank, investments that are not in real estate, not in retirement plans, real estate that's not your primary residence, stock options, college savings plans. So there's quite a long list of investments that when financial aid is calculated, it will have a negative impact potentially. So before you decide to move assets, I think it's really important you understand whether or not it's going to help you. So the two questions I think anybody needs to ask is, what is the cost to move the assets? And what is the benefit if I move the assets? So a lot of people have heard the rumors out there that say, well, if you have money in the bank, it's bad and you should get it out of there, or stock options are going to mess you up, or whatever it might be. But the reality is, for many families, you need to figure out if moving the money will create a benefit. And the other question to ask is, what will it cost to move the money? I was working with a family where we had a large amount of stock options available from work, and these stock options were certainly an asset that were needed to be reported for financial aid purposes. However, if we moved those assets, there was a large tax implication as well. For this particular family, moving the stock options didn't make sense because they were not going to qualify for financial aid no matter what we did. So just to blindly move assets around with no obvious benefit, when there was certainly a large downside on the tax side of things, did not make sense. So I guess the short answer for should I move assets, whether it's bank accounts or stock options or college savings or whatever it might be, the correct answer is it depends. And it depends on whether or not moving the asset's going to give you a substantial benefit. And it also depends on whether or not moving the asset has a substantial cost associated with it. So if moving the asset doesn't cost you much, in other words, well, I'm going to move money from this bank account to that bank account, or I'm going to pay off a credit card that I was going to pay off no matter what, well, those don't really have a downside, and therefore they may make sense. If, however, there is a cost, then you need to weigh the cost and the benefit before you proceed. Hopefully that helps, and I appreciate you listening today. Again, show notes are available at our website at Taming the High Cost of College. I appreciate you listening, and have a good day.
Thank you for listening to the Taming the High Cost of College podcast. Now it's time for you to take action. Head to tamingthehighcostofcollege.com for show notes, bonus content, and to leave feedback for Brad. The next step on your college journey starts now.
Brad Baldridge is a registered representative of Cambridge Investment Research and an investment advisor representative of Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Brad owns two companies, Baldridge Wealth Management and Baldridge College Solutions. The Baldridge companies are not affiliated with Cambridge Investment Research.